So
Yeah.
for people who want to get more into this industry, how does it work? And what would you advise to people?
I think it takes a lot of patience, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of persistence. And I think a big thing is also diversifying your income, different streams. And that may mean it's like in one market, like greeting cards or stationery, you can think like enlarge that to stationery,
Mm-hmm.
not just greeting cards.
Yeah, right.
Or you can like branch out into other markets like home decor, or you can work with interior designers or fabric. So there's a lot of different markets you can work in surface pattern design.
And what sort of work have you found that gets licensed? What kind of themes do you work with, or have you found that are very popular?
Well, I know overall surface pattern design industry, Christmas is huge. You'll often see like, at least in my experience, it seems like you're working on it all year long. I know I started in January working on Christmas, and I just had turned in some Christmas designs for photo cards just recently, like this past month. So they start pretty early, but some
Yeah.
greeting cards, it really depends on the company. Some of them are asking for that like a year ahead of time.
I've also had a question from someone who wants to know, how do you show off your portfolio online of greeting cards? And also, how do you find potential clients?
So I have a monthly newsletter that I send out to art buyers and art directors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just usually like a sampling of my work from my portfolio. And I will just basically, I'm always on the lookout of companies that I want to work with, from things I see in stores or things I see online.
So, for example, with what you said about Christmas, you start kind of January, like working on new ideas. Is there anything else that you would keep in mind, like January, February, Christmas time? What other months are important for certain things?
I would say like any like the fall months, you probably want to work like in the spring as well, just so you're kind of keeping ahead of it, because they'll be some of the companies seems to ask for it like on around the holiday because it's
Mm-hmm.
like for the year before. But yeah, it really just depends on the company. But that's from what I've seen, what I've noticed is kind of maybe try to be 3 to 6 months ahead of the actual holiday.
Next question. What is some feedback an art buyer might give to greeting card designs? What are some things that they might look out for?
It really depends on the art buyer. Like a specific example I actually have is someone, they asked me to change out the lettering I had for a greeting card for
Mhm.
font, and then it went through. It was fine. That's really the only thing they wanted. And so I did that, and it was fine. But yeah, a lot of times, most times you're lucky to get any feedback at all that I found specific in trying to pitch and work with clients.
The next question, what are some other things that you would keep in mind for designing greeting cards? Specific things that people could think about.
Mm, Hierarchy, I think that's a big one.
Mm,
I think that's sometimes the easiest one to forget about, especially because a lot of times with illustrators specifically, it seems like there's a lot of elements that they want to put in a piece, and that could be easy to lose track of when with in terms of hierarchy. I also think color is really important as well.
no, good point, yeah. How do you find inspiration for your collections? I don't know why I said inspirations.
Mm.
Inspirations, please.
A lot of it's like I walk every day, so that's a big one because I listen to podcasts, Pinterest. My son, he's a huge inspiration. Reading, I'm like a huge reader, so that's a big one too.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, there's a couple more questions that I've received. I really struggle with coming up with fun or cute sayings, and I worry about any copyright issues on these too. Do you have tips for inspiration? And are there rules to using certain phrases or visuals on your greeting cards?
Yeah, you definitely have to be careful about copyright issues with sayings. In the US, you can check the Patent and Trademark Office, and you can actually search. So if there's a saying that you're not sure about, you can actually do a search on that website, and
Uh-huh.
it'll like list if it's trademarked. So that's a good way to check.
Next question. I wanted to ask you about how we should approach clients that are looking for greeting cards to license. Do we need a website? And how many greeting card collections should go on there?
I would definitely say you need a website. That's pretty important, I think, now. And if you have an Adobe subscription, you can make a quick one with their Adobe portfolio. So There are lots of different ways you can go about doing that. And then, yeah, I would say like once you have the contact information of the art director or buyer, send them an email with an attachment of like 3 to 4 pieces.
Okay, I see. And last question. I was hoping you could show me how you set up your work for licensing and to send it to clients. Making the work is one thing, but how do you get it across to them to a great standard? Is that like a specific size or dimensions they usually prefer to receive?
I typically set up my sell sheets at like 11 by 17 size document. Like I have an InDesign document and I just set them up in there. And then I make sure that it has my name and my contact information on everything you said. You should have that. And then I just save it for web format. I would have it no larger than 150 DPI, but no smaller than 72 DPI.
Okay.